friends, today we're going to talk about the best and worst of the fall collections. I'm going to actually say most disappointing. I've been a little bit more discerning about what I've been picking up these last couple of months, so I don't really have a lot of fails. I have things that I'm just sort of disappointed in. I don't have anything that I really hated, but I have a lot of things that I really love. So we're going to talk about those things today. I have those things on my face. I'll go through the items and talk a little bit about the things that kind of were just okay and the things that were definitely disappointing. So it's a little warm here in New England. Believe it or not, it's like 80 something degrees. So I didn't get dressed up and put on makeup, jewelry and like my normal like sweater and everything, because it's just when I get hot, if you haven't watched me before, I don't do well in the heat. I just, I kind of melt. So I'm really looking forward to the actual fall weather. And I do understand the irony of talking about the best of fall collections when technically fall has just started. But in the beauty and fashion community, it's always a season ahead. So let's go through by product area. So in other words, foundation, eyeshadow, that type of thing. Let's start with foundation. The foundation, the only one that I can think of that I've tried out over the fall collections that is worth discussing, because I actually didn't try a lot of new foundations, was the Prada foundation. And I have it on today. This is the Prada Reveal foundation. There's actually been a number of foundations that have come out, or tints. Hourglass came out. Somebody else just came up with one, and why can't I remember? I think it was Louboutin Cushion or something. I haven't tried any of them. I really have been using the Chantecaille gel foundation, the Chanel Tint foundation, which I absolutely love, and now the Prada foundation. The Prada foundation is excellent. It has a soft matte, but it works really well on my skin. My skin is dry, it's more mature, but it leaves a beautiful finish. It wears really well. It's one of my favorite foundations. And once I started using it, I just didn't feel the need to pick up more. The thing about foundations, they're not like powders that you can just keep for months and try them later. You have a limited amount of time to use them. You can keep them for a while. It's not like a mascara, but still, once you open it, you have to get through it. So if you have 6 or 7 foundations that you're trying at once, some of them are gonna go bad. And so I didn't wanna do that when I had really found something that I liked. So the Prada is really excellent, and I would strongly recommend it. I think it would work for the majority of folks. I think if your skin is extremely dry, it might be a little problematic, or extremely oily. So in other words, people on either side, but most of the folks in the middle, from dry to oily, average, normal, whatever you want to call it, are going to really like it. It has a light to medium coverage. You can build it up. The match for me is L10, and I think it's L10. I'll make sure the number's below. But literally, it's a perfect match. And even if it wasn't, it kind of, when you first put it on, it might be a little bit off, but then it sort of has this magical way of blending into the skin. I really highly recommend it. I think it's phenomenally good. So that was the only foundation that I have to talk about. To be honest, that's it. There's not too much. Powder. So the only powder I can really talk about is the Blooming Boudoir powder. This is the Dior powder. This is the lavender loose powder. This is not new. The packaging is new. This is a great powder. If you're looking for a loose powder and you want something that has a coolness to it, something that brightens the skin, that's what a lavender will do. This is an excellent powder. It's finely milled. It's beautiful. It's a really good finely milled loose powder. However, I would say it's a loose powder. It has the traditional effects of a loose powder. Again, I've used it on camera numerous times. I really like it. Not necessarily that compact, but the lavender loose powder from Dior. The Dolce & Gabbana powder that I've talked about now for months is a unique product, and it looks like this. Originally, this was going to be a special edition, limited edition, whatever, and then it sold out, I think, so many times that they've decided, at least my understanding, is to make it permanent. So this powder is what I have on my face today. This powder is odd. Why do I use the word odd? Because it's not a pressed powder, and it's certainly not a loose powder, but it has this, it disappears on your skin. Like it doesn't, you can't even tell you've put powder on. but it leaves behind the most perfect blurring, smoothing, brightening. It's just perfect. So to be honest, I use this almost exclusively at this point. All of the other powders, and there's many that I think are good. The Western Atelier is very good, and now this Dior lavender powder in this new case is beautiful. But I keep using the Dolce & Gabbana because it's just so special. That's not to say that I don't like the other ones, and the lavender powder definitely has that, you know, that coolness, that brightening, because it's got the lavender shade to it. But if I were to only pick one powder for like ever and ever, it would be the Dolce & Gabbana. Okay, lipsticks. So I'm saving eyeshadows for last because there's a lot of eyeshadows. Like probably the most I've ever reviewed in a season. So many eyeshadows, so many palettes. Okay, so first is the Dior, this is part of the Blooming Boudoir collection, Nude Bliss. Best shade. Seriously, such a good shade. These are the luminizers. They aren't super pigmented, but they give your lips like a little bit of something, a little bit of plumping, a little bit of tingling, moisturizing, lasts all day, feels really good. My lips are dry. This color is great. I love this product. I bought a backup of this shade because it's a limited edition shade, or at least they said it was a limited edition shade. They could be lying. Love it. Absolutely love that shade. And I love the product. So, the Blooming Boudoir case. This is not a lipstick, this is a case, but I do love the added cases. I do collect them. Again, is it a money grab from Dior? Of course it is. It's a way to make money by coming up with cases to put your lipsticks in. But I still love the cases and I think they're fun. And I feel like it brings me happiness to see the cases and be like, oh, what a pretty case, and I put my lipstick in it. So I'm happy with it, but I'm well aware it's a case. It's like a $30 case. And sometimes more, sometimes more. The Dior, this is the lacquer. This is the Forever Liquid. And I'm still not sure how I feel about this product. This is Nude Touch. I love the shade. I'm just not sure how I feel about the product. One, you have to shake it. Two, it has a little bit of like alcohol, I don't know, smell to it. Three, you put it on your lips and then you're not allowed to put your lips together. You kind of have to like just like let it sit. I have to keep trying it, but to be honest with you, I don't love it. And I have the Chanel tenues, which kind of serve the same purpose, and I love those. So I have a product that does what I want it to do. This one I don't like as much. You know, it's a disappointment. It's not a terrible product, and I think for some people it'll be really good. It's not my favorite. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, shall we? This is the Rouge 31 Chanel lipsticks. These individual lipsticks are $200. What you're really paying for is this glass case. I will say that this glass case is made extremely well. How do I know that? I dropped it. Did I do it on purpose? No, I did not. But I did drop it, and I have hardwood floors, and nothing happened to it. It didn't chip, didn't break, nothing. I can't even find, nothing. So, it is a really well-made, durable glass case, which I wasn't so sure was possible. So I'm impressed by that, I will say. But again, it's a case, like the Dior, pretty case. And the lipsticks are $200 if you get it with the case, and then 80 something, I'll make sure the price is correct down below. I did a whole video on it, on unboxing, 80 something dollars for the refills, and then it comes with the box that's back there, that Chanel box that my finger is pointing to, which is very nice. Is any lipstick worth $200 or $80 for a refill? In my opinion, no. Especially during these days where people are having problems, affording gas and groceries. And so I recognize that this is a huge luxury item. And I've said this, and I've said it in a couple of videos, and I'm going to continue to weave this message into things that I'm talking about. I feel like the beauty industry and the fashion industry are catering to the very, very, very high-end clients, super, super luxury clients, VIP clients, VIC clients. And then everybody else is kind of being shoved over here. And I don't like that. I find it insulting to a certain extent. But I also understand why the brands are doing it. They feel like that's where they're going to make the most money, the most profit. So I get things like this from their perspective. And also Dior did one that has like ceramic. It's beautiful, but it's like 550 pounds for like 2 lipsticks. But I will say this, the lipstick that's in here, and I'm wearing it right now, this is the beige shade. Beige, I can't really remember. It's number 1. Is beautiful. The formula is really good. It really is. It's an excellent formula. It's very comforting. It's very smooth. It's very creamy. It's like the La Strays, the little ones. I like it even actually a little bit better. And this shade is one of my favorite shades that I've used from Chanel. The thing I would say though is the other shades that are in this collection, except for number 2, which is like a coral, are deep. They're deep reds, different shade undertones of red. So if you don't like a dark lip, you really only have the one shade to choose from. I know that as part of the collection they were going for like a certain look, the Rouge 31, and like one of the shades is 2.55, which is basically the inside color of a lot of the bags. So I understand the red shades and the classic of red, but you know, I don't usually wear a deep lip. So when I was trying to pick colors, I felt limited in what I could even choose. And when you're spending that much money, I wish there were more options. That's all. I understand why they didn't make as many options because they were making it very exclusive, not having as many. They probably put a lot of money into the ingredients and the products. So that was one thing. The second thing is, though, like I said, I do think this is beautiful, and I'm glad I have it, and I am a collector of Chanel, and if you haven't watched me before, I worked for Chanel a long, long time ago as a makeup artist, so I was going to get it anyway, and I'm glad that they made it so durable, and they did an excellent job with it. I just feel like more and more we are seeing the very high-end get, you know, a beautiful product, but for a lot of money, where they're actually creating less value for things that are still expensive. So their main lines, which were always expensive, they're cutting back on design or packaging or embossing and charging the same or more for those, while putting in a great deal of design and effort and a beautiful packaging, but only for the very high end. And that trend concerns me. The product itself is beautiful, but again, I want to point that out because I do think it's a problem that we could see more and more. So I hope brands recognize that, yes, of course, there's always room for that very high-end buyer, but that there's a whole group of people who, you know, save their money like I did when I was in law school and couldn't afford anything to get that Chanel lipstick for whatever it was at the time. It was a lot of money. I really don't remember the pricing, but you know, it was $30 and that was a lot of money to me. And it was excellent quality. Or the eyeshadow quad that was more expensive than the other eyeshadow quads from other brands, but it was always the best quality, which is why I wanted it. Now I feel like it's you know, $90 and sometimes it's great and sometimes it's okay. So those are the things that sort of, I don't know, they percolate to my mind when I think of that. Okay, so the rest of the items all have to do with eyes. Actually, that's not true. Let's talk about blush. I lied. Let's talk about blush. All right, so there were 2 blush releases that I want to talk about. There's a couple of blushes that I did not pick up. There's a couple of brands. I have been more focused, guys, on the more like super luxury brands. Dior, Chanel, Yves Saint Laurent, Clé de Peau, Prada, Hermes. When they have their Hermes shadows coming out, I'll do those. Because I feel like that's what you guys want to see from me, which is fine. So I haven't done as much with like other brands. I also am trying to do more with fashion, accessories and things. I'll be, weaving that in. I did a fashion one. There's so much good fashion actually coming. Phoebe Philo is coming out with her collection. If you're not familiar with her, she's the designer that was behind Celine at the end of October. I'm very excited about that collection. She's more of like the quiet luxury kind of designer. So we'll be very interested to see what she has coming out. Anyway, so Dior had their blushes for fall. I'm not talking about holiday today, guys. So I'm not talking about the Clé de Peau holiday. I'm not talking about the Dior holiday or Chanel holiday. This is all fall. Dior had two blushes that I picked up. One I have on my cheeks today, is Grand Ball. And this is the one that had the sweater design. And we actually said, Grand Ball came in a different formula. This one's a satin. And then the other one that I think came out was a holographic or something that was existing before it. But this one is really beautiful. Love this one. And like I said, I have it on today. Think it's gorgeous. Love the formula. Love the way it looks. I think the shade is perfect for me and was excited to have it. Then the other blushes were the Chanel. These were the Harmony blushes. There was the Beige et Coral and Beige Rose et Mauve. These were difficult to get for a while. I think they're now available in most places. We'll see if I'm lying when I go to look for links for you guys. But these are what these look like. These are beautiful blushes. I actually think these are really well done by Chanel. They are very pigmented. And I would say that they aren't my favorite blushes by Chanel because of the fact that they are very pigmented and I don't reach for them that often. However, the shades are gorgeous. I would pick, personally, the Fantasia blush that came out earlier this year from Chanel over these because, again, you can see how lightly I do my blush. This is Dior's Grand Ball. I went in so lightly with such a fluffy brush. That's how I prefer to wear my blush. So the more pigmented ones don't really, it's not that they're bad. They just, they're not like, oh my goodness, this is great. They're super pigmented. Instead, it's a hindrance to me because I have to be more careful. So again, not a fail, not a disappointment. They're quite beautiful. And I think Chanel actually did a good job coming up with something that is a little bit more pigmented that more folks can use. And the two shades are very different, which I think is phenomenal. But they're just not, my favorites. So before we get into eyeshadow palettes, and there's a ton, let me talk about two products that have to do with the eye, but are not eyeshadow palettes. First is the Lisa Eldridge pencils. And I have one on today in, I think it's black coffee, ground coffee. And I did a whole video on these. These are not bad liners. But they're disappointing. And let me tell you why. They're disappointing because the way that they were talked about was that they were like non-smudgeable, foolproof. They would wear forever. You couldn't move them. Kind of like the Chanel waterproofs that I love. And I find these very smudgeable and very transferable. I did a video on it and literally I put it on my line, upper lash line. It opened my eye and it transferred to my lid. So I don't have oily skin, I don't have oily eyelids, I have dry skin, so it transferred like that on me. I don't think these are a good choice for anybody that has oily skin. For anybody who has dry skin, it's probably okay. And for more mature skin, because you can, it's like the Victoria Beckhams, you can roll it across your eyes super easily and smudge it out. I like them, and in fact, the use that I use today is the way I would use them. It's the same way I use the Victoria Beckhams. I put them on very, very lightly, then I take a brush and smudge it out. I have like a smudgy look. But I use very little, and they still transfer. The Victoria Beckhams don't seem to transfer. Like I don't get smudges under my eyes from them. These I do. So that could just be me. I haven't used them long enough. I haven't used them in the winter. I've been using them in the summer. Yes, it's technically fall now, but it's 85 degrees. So, when you're sweaty and I don't do well in the heat, that could be why it's transferring. Maybe when it's cold out, it will be absolutely fine. So I don't want to say it's a fail yet, but they're not something I'm going to reach for because I'm not going to feel confident in using that, at least at this point. So that's where I land with those. The next product is similar to that. These are the Chanel loose powder eyeshadows. Now, can you use these effectively? Yes, you can. One of the ways you can use them effectively, in my opinion, is to take a brush and just put it in the loose eyeshadow and just put it on your eyelid. But the thing is about that, and there's nothing wrong with that, like you can absolutely do that, it defeats the purpose, I think, of having the little thing in there and putting it on your eye. So yes, I think that works. That's what I always did with my MAC loose powders, loose eyeshadows, loose pigments. I would just dump it into the cap and take a brush. And so yeah, I mean, you can use them and they're very pretty and they actually look quite beautiful on the eye. I did videos with these as well, all 3 shades. They look stunning. I love the shades and I love the like luminosity that they each have, and they actually stayed on the eye really well. I just think this packaging, I think this design is a failure because I'm not going to pull it out like this and use it on my eyelid. The only way I would do it is if I took it out, I was really careful to take off all the excess, and then I pounced it into my eye very carefully. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for a lot. Somebody recently put in one of my comments, how do you find the energy? I don't find the energy. I'm exhausted most of the time and I don't have time like to be super careful. I just don't. If you do and you want to, that's great. But I feel like many of us, or at least many of the people I know, are like racing from one thing to another and they're just trying to find 5 minutes to like drink a coffee. So I don't have time to mess with it. So for me, it's a disappointment. I also understand though, a loose powder, a loose pigment is going to be slightly messy. That's the nature of the product. So I don't use my MAC loose pigments as much anymore. To be honest with you, I used to use them all the time when I was younger. I don't use them as much anymore because to me, it's just more of a pain. And I don't have time to be as careful. You have to be honest about how I use things in my daily life. So it's just the truth. Blooming Boudoir, this is the 10-pin eyeshadow palette. I have mixed feelings about this product. I liked it more than I thought I would, and the look that I came up with when I was done with it, I actually think looked really good, really nice. I actually got a lot of compliments on it, and I think it looks pretty. The shades in here that I've used for blush a couple of times, I've really liked. But this is a very powdery formula. It's like a drier, powdery formula. Now, it worked really well on me. I didn't have to work really hard with it. But again, I think it's because my skin is drier and like it didn't stick to anything because I don't have any oils for it to stick to. My skin is so dry. I think the packaging is cute, but remember, this is plastic. It's not, it's not like made out of glass like the Chanel. This is a plastic case. And it's got nice packaging and it's cute, but it's not, for the price point, I don't know if it depends on if you just really love this embroidery. Again, I think it's good. I don't think it's bad. I actually like the look. The formula's okay, but again, we're dealing with, high price items. Would I buy it again? Maybe. That's the thing. That's why I'm struggling, because I really do like the look that I came up with it, and some of the colors in there are very pretty. I also feel like you could find those colors somewhere else, but I just want to be honest, like the purple in there I really like, and the white in there I really like. If I was going to recommend to most people, I would say buy it on sale. And if it's not on sale, get something else. That's kind of where I end up with it. The Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. I want to mention this because I really like this palette. I think it's a good palette. It's cool toned, it's very pretty, I like it, but I find myself not really reaching for Natasha Denona as much as I once did. I don't think it's because she's done anything wrong. It's not that her formula is bad. Her formula is good. There's some really beautiful formulas in that particular palette, and I think it works really well. But I have so much makeup now. I can be super discerning about what I choose to use, and that's not what I reach for. So I would say for the price point, it's really good. It's an excellent buy because there's a lot more shades. Formula is good. I came up with beautiful looks. I really like it. It's a good cool tone palette, but it's not going to be on a favorites list of mine. So let's get to the eyeshadow palettes, the smaller ones. Okay, guys, we have Chanel, we have Dior, we have Prada, we have Tom Ford, we have Clé de Peau, and we have Yves Saint Laurent. There was a lot. For the Chanel, these are the, wasn't Byzantine. What was the name? Byzance. Was it Byzance? Yes, I think that's right. Byzance collection. And believe it or not, the one that was my favorite of this entire collection, which is just funny because I wasn't sure I was even going to buy it, was the Baroque, which is this one, which my husband got for me. And it's so funny because I originally did like this one because of the green in it, but I was like, I don't want that red. I'm not gonna get it. Love the way that this looks on the eye. I actually like all of these. The Baroque is my favorite. I'd say the Cristal is probably my second favorite. Yeah, then the Venetian and then the Imperial, but they're all good. They're all really good. They're unique for Chanel. There's the Sparkle Duo, whatever shades that are in there are unique for Chanel. They're not unique for, you know, makeup, but they're unique for Chanel. I love the gold embossing on the inside. Again, is it worth the price that, you know, Chanel charges? That's subjective. But I do reach for them, and I do think the formula in all of them are really good, and I like the looks that they were creating, and I really like the fact that they have those shimmer shades, those unique shades that Chanel just generally doesn't do. So yes, I would consider those favorites for the collections that came out this year. But of the ones in front of me, I would say it's ranked, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would rank it like 5th. No, 4th. I would rank it 4th. This is a tough one. I think I would rank it 4th. All of them, but the Baroque one especially, because I really like the way that one looks. The shimmer shade in that one is really special. It's really shimmery, beautiful collection. The one that I would rank 5th is the Dior. These are the ones with the sweaters. I have a little bit of that on today, actually, and I like them both. And it's so funny because I didn't originally tend to pick these up either, because they looked like, one looked too, like I mentioned this in the video when I did reviewed, one looked like too little, this one, and the other one looked like too much, which was Rouge Saga. This one, I have this shade in the crease, this brown shade, and this shade, this cream shade in the brow. It's just a really usable palette. You know, it's one of those things that's like, oh, I need an easy, quick look for everyday work, going to the market, whatever. It's just really easy to use. And the formula in these two are not as good as the old Dior formula, but it's close. It's close to the old Chanel, Dior formula. So it's not as good, but it's close. And I don't know if they were just creamier or I just had a good luck with those particular palettes, but they worked really well on me and blended really easily, and I just was very impressed with those two. And again, they are very boring shades, but I really like them. I don't know what to say. Okay, the one that I would rank at the bottom of these 6 is the Tom Ford. This is the Dark Opulence. So I really liked the Dark Opulence. I like the shades in here. I like the looks that I created, but here's the thing about this. The more and more I've used it, the harder I've had a time getting it to work as well. I don't know if the shades, if the formula is, I I don't know if it was made a little funny and it's drying out or what's happening, but I'm having it's becoming more patchy the more I use it. So I'm having a little more issue with it. I still think the colors in here are beautiful. I still think these two colors are a little too much alike, but that being said, I do really enjoy this palette and I do keep using it. This shade in here I use a lot actually, and this blue I've really come to like. But of all of the ones that have come out for fall, it is my least favorite. Would it still be a favorite? Here's the thing. If I said it's the 6th of 6 of the shadows that I've tried, the smaller palettes that I've tried this year. So am I still happy to have it? Would I buy it again? Yes. I would buy it on sale though. I would definitely buy it on sale. And the disappointment is that I really thought it was going to be a creme formula. And for me, the creme formulas are the only ones that I could say I love. There was a purple one, I forgot all the names. There's a green one, there's like a beige one, but the cream formulas, the creme formulas, those are the ones I love. The rest of them, they're okay and sometimes good, but I don't love them. So that's why it's 6th. Okay, 3rd is Prada. Now, again, this might have been number 1 if it wasn't for the other 2 that came out this year. For fall. These are really fun. These are just really fun eyeshadows. They're very different. I love the fact that she, you know, the creative director came out with like patterns for each shade combination. The shades are really pretty. Each one has a different use. The soft mattes are beautiful. They do fade a little bit, but I just think they're really, really well curated and fun to do. I actually like all the shades. I only picked up 2 of the palettes. I will probably pick up more later, but again, I've had so much that I was just like, I can wait because they're permanent. But yeah, I think they're really good. I think they're a good price point. I think the formula is good. I think the colors are fun. And I just think it's unique, which at this point, I'm also like, yeah, I would like something that's a little unique. So I think the products are definitely worth it. Find the color story that you like. I know that some of the shades and the color stories like that green or the yellow or whatever are a little intimidating, but when you go to use them, they'll be fine because they're soft. So I think anybody can use them and be creative with them and find them to be, you know, very usable and very user-friendly. So between number 1 and number 2, I was a really tough time. This is how I've ended up. Number 2 is the Clé de Peau new formulas. This is the refill. This is Azure Blue Sea, which is actually one of the most recent ones I picked up, and I just did a look with it. The reason I put it 2nd is because of the price. These are $110 with the case. Without the case, you subtract $35. I forget exactly. But it's a lot. It's a lot of money for eyeshadow. Here's the thing though. My perception may be, and probably is, slightly skewed because I am older and I do have more mature skin. I find these to be the most, I can rely on these more than I can rely on any other palette. Even the original, not original, even the Dior from 3 years ago. There's something about the way these are made. Could be the primer that's in there, which is a little unfair to the other palettes because I don't necessarily use a primer with them. But they just stay perfectly, at least on me. Again, this is my skin, you know, I have dry eyes, that type of thing, but they just stay perfectly. They blend perfectly. It's an elegant look for what I do for a living and where I wear most of my makeup. It's just the perfect fit for me. It's not going to be for everybody though. And I absolutely know that. 1, the price point, and 2, there's going to be a lot of people who are like, yeah, there's 12 different shades and some of them look very similar and it's too much money to pay for something that isn't that different. It's not that shiny and it's not dramatic. Those things are all true. So it's not going to be for everyone. I think I've said this before, but for that person, for that group of people, it's going to be literally like a holy grail product. Like they're going to love it and they're going to buy all of it. maybe all 12. I have 5 of them and I will buy more. I really I cannot say enough about the formula and how it works. So again, totally recognizing that it's very expensive. It's not something that's going to be overly dramatic or stand out, and you're going to say, why am I paying this much money for this thing? And for many people, it will not be worth the price tag. But for some of us, including myself, I'm happy to continue buying them. If you can get them on sale, even better. I've bought most of mine on sale because I've had coupons and stuff. So I'm not saying don't do that. I definitely, they're permanent, get them on sale. But I'm willing to invest in them because I like them that much. Now you're going to ask me why I put it in number 2. And the reason I put it in number 2 is because one of the things I'm doing here is to give advice to all of you. Yes, these are my opinions, but I also recognize that they are opinions that I also want to try to like gauge where you guys are all at. And I think that the next one, the one I'm putting at number 1, is the one that is better for most people. Most. Yves Saint Laurent. Here's the problem. They don't seem to exist. They were here for a while and then they disappeared in the United States. They are coming back. I keep hearing the date's been pushed back a couple of times. The holiday one is on Yves Saint Laurent, I think, for pre-order. I've done a video with that color story. So they are coming back. They should be here in this month. I really hope so. This one is number 1. This is one of my favorites. This is Store Dolls, which I've called Stella Dolls like many, many times if you watched. But this one is one of my favorite color stories. I have on a little bit of this shade and this shade on my eyes today. Not much. I mixed it with the Dior. So, because I wanted to use more than just one palette. But I have to tell you guys, I have all of them. I feel like I'm missing maybe one. I can't remember right now. But anyway, the Yves Saint Laurent formula is excellent. Each quad has a unique color story. They can be dramatic. They can be everyday. They're reasonably priced. Beautiful formula. You know, the thing about them, of course, like I said, is they seem to have disappeared. And I don't know exactly why. I've heard rumors that it was because of the glue situation. They weren't glued in. I heard rumors that there was something wrong with them and they recalled. If they had been recalled, by the way, we would have gotten some sort of official notice. I never saw an official notice, like from an agency or anything. If you guys did, let me know, but I haven't seen that. If something was contaminated or something. I didn't see anything like that. So I think there was a production problem. But again, it could be a number of things. However, I have heard from my essays that they're coming in October. Fingers crossed that they are. I really, really love them and I will continue to buy them if they come out with new shades. I really hope that they didn't somehow stop making them. Like that there's some kind of like, this is like a Sucru blush situation and now they're just gone. Because that would really upset me because these are really excellent. And for the price point, I think they're phenomenally good. And for most people, when you're going to spend your money, I think this is a better choice than the Clé de Peau because, like I said, I think the Clé de Peau, if you're somebody who has problems getting your makeup to stay, or you have more mature skin, textured eyelids, all of those things, I would invest in the Clé de Peau, me personally, for me. But, the Yves Saint Laurent is going to work as well or almost as well for pretty much everybody else. It's a lot cheaper. It's like almost half the price, especially if you get it on sale. And the color stories are beautiful. And you can make them dramatic. Like there's some sparkly shades. So that would be my number 1 of the eyeshadows. I think that's it. I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there's something I've forgotten. You gotta remember, or if you haven't watched me before, I had and am having some health issues related to migraines in all of this. It's possible there's stuff that's just gone from my brain, guys, and it's never going to come back. But if I've forgotten something or there's something that you wanted me to comment on that I didn't, let me know in the comments below. Perfume, I want to mention a couple things. I am going to do a perfume video about like my top 5 perfumes that have come. Ones that I do want to mention to you that I haven't really talked about. Tom Ford had that lime fragrance that I never picked up. It's phenomenally good, better for the summer, however, and I didn't get it. So I still have to buy that. But I do love the Tom Ford something lime. It was an excellent, excellent fragrance. If you like a lime, like a key lime or that type of scent, so good. I Can Wait that just came out from Frederick Malle. Beautiful scent. If you like iris, very soft, powdery scent, totally worth picking up. I'm buying a large bottle of it. I got a small bottle of it. Absolutely love it. Guerlain came out with tobacco honey. I am on the fence with that one because it's a heavy tobacco. I like a little bit of tobacco, but this is really tobacco. So if you like that scent, if you like a really tobacco-y smoky, you might go for it. But for me, it's a little too much. Yeah, it's not my thing. Bake, Acro's Bake. It's lemon pound cake. It's so good. So good. Seriously. And it was the first fragrance I tried when my migraine stopped. Like when I hadn't had a migraine for at least 5 days, I was like, all right, I'm going to try a perfume and see if it sets it off. And I tried Acro's Bake. Not only did it not set off a migraine, but I smelled so good that I was like, why do I suddenly, like I went to Starbucks the next day and I'm going to totally admit it. I bought iced lemon pound cake, which I didn't even actually eat, but it didn't matter because it's like I smell it, you know, it was one of those things. I smelled lemon pound cake for an entire day and I was like, huh, lemon pound cake, sounds good. So that's the only danger in it, but it's phenomenal. It smells so good. So good. Love that fragrance. Totally worth picking up if you like a gourmand and you like lemon. It's not like a strong lemon. It's like a, you know, like a baked lemon. It's not sour. It's not bitter in any way. So those are just a couple I wanted to mention. I'll have more, like I said, I'll have the top 5. And you know, pretty soon we'll be having I'll have a video about like gift ideas, luxury gift ideas, fashion, all that good stuff is coming. I didn't want to do all of it in October. I mean, I get it. A lot of people, and things do sell out. I've said that, and it's true. Things will start to sell out because there's limited amounts of some of these things. But I feel like it's like when you go into a CVS in August and they have Halloween candy. You're just like, really? It's too early. So I feel like, you know, the holiday stuff should at least wait till November. But I will have those videos up. I don't want to get too far ahead. I mean, I get it. We're all rushing, but you know, I feel like we could at least wait till November to do that. And also, I might be having a special trip coming up in possibly December. And if so, I will make sure to take you with me. I'll take, you know, video and stuff. We'll see if it's I don't know if it'll actually happen. So I don't want to jinx it yet. But if it does, I will definitely have some kind of vlog or something. So, all right, that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on your favorites, your fails, disappointments in the comments below. Thanks again for joining me. I hope to see you in another video really soon.